The Battle of Wakefield was a very significant development during the conflict that came to be known as the Wars of the Roses, the dynastic struggles that took place in the 15th century between the rival royal houses of Lancaster and York. In the Battle of Wakefield, Richard, Duke of York, who had recently unsuccessfully tried to lay claim to the throne against the Lancastrian King Henry VI, was forced to retreat to his stronghold at Sandal Castle in Wakefield, while he and his sons were mustering troops to go to war against the House of Lancaster. Unfortunately for Richard, he was lured out of the safety of his stronghold by a friend appearing under false colours, and the Duke of York went to make battle against the Lancastrians on the plain ground that lies between Sandal Castle and the city of Wakefield. Alas, the Duke had been tricked, and instead of facing a fairly small force, he found himself completely encircled by a much larger Lancastrian army. He was trapped, environed like a buck in a trap, as it's described in the historical record. Richard was overwhelmed by superior numbers and killed, probably making a fighting retreat, trying to get back to his castle, somewhere in the region that's now known as Portobello. In the meantime, his second son, Edmund, the Earl of Rutland, who was now completely cut off from the castle, had no option but to try and flee towards the safety of Wakefield. So the young Earl, who was about 17 years old at this time, and his tutor and his small retinue were making towards the city when they were overtaken by the Lancastrian forces led by Lord Clifford. A battle took place somewhere in the region of Chantry Bridge, and the young Earl of Rutland was also slain by Lord Clifford in revenge for the Duke of York having killed Lord Clifford's father at the Battle of St Albans. So this whole conflict really was a particularly nasty grudge match between two branches of the same family. And with the deaths of both Richard, Duke of York, and his second son, the Battle of Wakefield came to a close. The conflict was then picked up by the Duke of York's eldest son, Edward, who in the meantime was out trying to recruit troops in the Western Marches and in Wales. And Edward launched a spectacular winter campaign in which he avenged his father's death, and this campaign culminated in the huge battle that took place at Towton on Palm Sunday on March the 29th, 1461, the Battle of Wakefield having taken place on the 30th of December 1460.